Stay free with me, Russell Brand.
Michael, thanks for joining me today.
Well, thank you, Russell. It's a real pleasure. I love talking to you. You're a lot of fun.
Michael, thank you so much for saying. The last time we spoke, I was in a state of crisis. I recall using you almost as a therapist. I felt like, right, I'm talking to Michael Singer now. This is a person who I regard as a sort of a modern day sage, a contemporary yogi, an unordained priest. So now that I'm in this position of crisis, instead of interviewing Michael in an abstract way, I'm going to speak to him plainly and candidly about my fears. Well, today I feel that because of the nature of the work we generally do, where we talk about political corruption, centralised power, the nature and role of the media in keeping a population spellbound, I wonder how you feel that your work, which focuses on individual and personal awakening, an ability to sort of almost become, I don't want to mangle your life's work, but to become the witness consciousness rather than the objects within our consciousness, to try to get beyond the stored fear and anxiety that most of us experience. How do you feel that this individual work relates to the kind of society that we're living in and the kind of systems that we occupy? And also, Michael, because I know I pray your answer will be a long and coherent one. How do you feel that these are individual problems that we're experiencing or problems that are somehow socially induced?
Okay, thank you. It's actually a very easy answer. The question is, how do you want to go? Let's start with a hypothesis. Let's say that every single person on the earth was completely content, happy, filled with love, and feeling peace inside. There would be no wars. There'd be no conspiracies. There'd be no conspiracy theories. There would just be people getting along. John Lennon, imagine all the people living life in peace, or sharing all the world. If you're okay inside, you're not manipulating other people. There is no fear of some centralized government that wants to take from you or has some motive that individual, Congress and different people have motives to stay in power and so on. The only reason people want all that because they're not okay. That's why people want power. That's why people want to control other people, because they're not okay within themselves. So kind of a fun way to talk, which is very different from how people talk. What if everyone was okay?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have these problems, all right? So I don't see working on yourself as an individual thing. I see it as the only solution in the end that can bring about peace and harmony and people not manipulating each other. Because that's all you're talking about is why are people manipulating each other, right? Why do big companies try to make money? Why does this happen? Why does all the difference happen? Because they're not okay. Why do people, other than basic needs, why do people need all this money? Why do they need jets? Why do they need to do all this stuff? The answer is they don't, but they do because they're not happy. They're not satisfied with their lives. They need to do things to compensate for the fact that they're not okay inside. That's the basic bottom thing. Everybody is out there, whether it be relationships, whether it be money, whether it be power and pride and success. I'm not okay, and I feel great when everybody claps. I don't know about you. Right? If everybody writes, if I get 7 million upvotes, I'm not a Facebook guy. I'm not on Facebook, but I think there's such a thing as, acceptance, whatever it is. Vote. Yeah, you feel wonderful that day. If all of a sudden you get a bunch of downvotes, you don't feel so good. That's because you're not okay. You need things from outside to fix what's wrong inside of you so that you can get energy inside so it can come up. I like to imagine what it would be like if everybody naturally felt all this beautiful energy, this beautiful love. We would not have a single problem. You might not have a podcast. I don't know what I would do. All right. There'd be no reason to be having all these talks because people would respect each other. They'd honor each other. They'd share with each other. Why would they share? Because they don't need anything. Right. If I'm totally content, I would rather help you because I don't need anything. So that's what this work is inside. And it's not an individual thing. It's how to fix all of society. If people are not okay, they rob, they steal, they rape, they do all kinds of things. Correct?
Yes.
What if they were okay? The only way to actually change that is for a person to work on themselves. You're the only one in there. Only you can work on yourself, right? You can get other people to behave in a way that makes you feel better inside, but then you're manipulating. All right, I'll stop.
Now, I'm not okay inside, and I still believe that my inner life can be improved by the management of external circumstances. I've found this to be Sisyphean, an endless daily task that seems futile and resets each day at dawn, draining and unsuccessful. Even though I've been in recovery for almost 20 years, that means I'm abstinent from drugs and alcohol, even though I meditate every day, even though I place spirituality at the forefront of my life, I still find that a lot of my time is spent feeling inadequate, inferior, hungry for pleasurable experiences. My primal drives often dominate my psychological life. Now, I don't want to make excuses for myself, Michael, but when we talk about, say, if we isolate even the issue of mental health and the sense that we are experiencing a decline and a deterioration in the area of mental health, on one level, this is, of course, a situation experienced subjectively by each individual, presumably. But on the other hand, it appears that we're living in a culture that is inducing this state. Now, I'm not suggesting here that this is a result of a centralized massive conspiracy, but it does indicate to me that there are a set of values that are promoted and almost enshrined that are to do with materialism, individualism, and a kind of negligence of the kind of principles that we're discussing: surrender, gratitude, acceptance. You know, in your book, The Surrender Experiment, it's almost like you said you used the fidelity of surrender as a guidance principle, and the results were a kind of abundance. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is that these conditions, that, you know, to just speak of myself, are not occurring in a vacuum. I'm a participant in a cultural discourse, and like my own not okayness in here is being exacerbated and stoked by cultural conditions that, admittedly, that I'm participating in and seem unable to surmount. But what is the role of our culture, and how do we alter that culture?
Right. I'm weird, right? I look at the core of things because I think things have to change at the core. And I can't change everybody else. I really can't, okay? I can manipulate somebody or try to make them be the way I want them to be, but I can't do everything, all right? So I have to decide at some point in my life, and I decided very young, am I going to sit there and let all that stuff you just talked about ruin my life? Because it is that way. It was that way when Christ was here. It was not that way when Buddha was here. It's been that way for a very, very long time. Why is it that way? I told you, because people are not okay. That's the core. People are not okay. So therefore, they're doing all the things that you talk about, right? They're manipulating, they're taking, they're advertising so they can make money. They're doing everything. You're right. You're absolutely right. If things are the way you want them to be outside, you feel better inside. If things are not the way you want them to be outside, you feel worse inside. So you have a choice. Go out there and say, I have to change everything, which you already told me makes you neurotic. Yeah. I have to change every single thing, every single moment so I can be okay inside. Or you can say, wait a minute, I'm the one who's in here. And you're going to find out if you do real work on yourself, and I'm not saying you don't, but if you do real work on yourself, that you're causing your own problems inside. Yes. You're not causing everybody else to be the way they are, but you're causing the fact that if somebody doesn't like you, it bothers you, right? Well, that's silly. Everybody's different. Everybody likes different people. It doesn't have to bother you. So you start to work inside to say, can I at least set an example for humanity, all right, that you can be okay in the middle of all this, or you can complain about it, but it doesn't do any good. You understand that? You just sit there and talk and complain about how things are. Yes, they are that way. You are absolutely correct. They are that way, okay? And it does affect you inside. Why? You're inside. It's outside. Can you do something to where you're at peace inside, you're whole inside, so that now you can come out and instead of complaining, I'm not saying you're complaining, you're very good and you help a lot of people, but instead of it just being a lot of what's wrong, you can come out here and help, all right? But you have to be okay yourself. So how do you do that? And you talked about meditating, and you talked about, you know, beautiful that you got off of substance abuse and so on and so forth. I'm very, very proud of you. It's very beautiful. And it sets a good example for everybody, all right? And I'm very happy that you're such a popular position and you can set that example. That comes naturally. But inside, why are you bothered by what's going on outside? Literally, let's be scientists. Why are you bothered by what's going on outside? If you close your eyes, you're still bothered what's going on outside. You understand that, right? It's because your mind has decided how things should be. Yes. For you to be okay.
Yes.
Your mind, but everyone's mind is different. Remember Skinner? I'm the sum of my learned experiences, right?
Is that
That's what
B.F.
he
Skinner,
said.
behavioralism?
Yeah, and he said, man is the sum of his learned experiences. You're not the sum of your learned experiences. You're the consciousness that is aware that your mind is the sum of your learned experiences, and your emotions are the sum of your learned experiences. Period. You know that. One change, and all of a sudden you're thinking different. Okay? So you look at it and you realize, I have made up in my mind how everything needs to be for me to be okay. And I've made up in my mind how if things are a certain way, I won't be okay. That would kill me.
Yeah.
I can't handle that.
Yeah.
I like that. My favorite word, I can't handle that. In other words, I'm going to get screwed up inside. Why can't you change that? You're in there. And what I found over years and years, 50 years, is it's because I blocked everything that ever bothered me throughout my life. Right? If my parents got divorced, if this happened, if I hurt somebody and now it bothers me, I stored bother inside of me. Correct?
Yes.
Everything that ever bothered me. It comes back up. It comes up in my dreams. It comes up when somebody says something. Oh my God, that hurt me. Okay. Why? Because you stored this stuff inside. And my experience is, as you learn to let go of that stuff inside, underneath it, there's this beautiful energy. The energy that you feel when things are the way you want, whether it be relationships, whether it be success, that energy is always there.
Yeah.
It's just you set up conditions that have to happen for you to feel it. When you start to let go of those conditions, which are based upon your suppressed stuff, it's not different than psychology. It just goes deeper. All right. It's based on this. Freud was right. You store stuff inside. You have hands inside that push things away and grab things, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you learn to stop doing that. It's very deep. You learn to relax when you would have pushed it away. What happens? All of a sudden, it makes it through. Like 99.99% of everything you ever experienced made it right through.
Watch entire episodes on demand for free at rumble.com/Russell Brand.